Saturday morning. Didn't get a whole lot of videos up last week. It was back to work, and we just had kind of a lot of storms throughout the week. As you can see, all the snow is gone that we had last weekend. Just about. There's a little tiny bit in the front yard there. I'm going to get, first order of business, I got to organize all these parts, maybe put some in some boxes, because it's probably going to take a few weeks to get all this going. I started out with some polish ideas. I'm going to be doing a lot of polishing on aluminum. I got this old Norton kit and I started out with some of these little discs here. They just go back, they go on a little air tool. That's another thing. I got to pick up just a cheap electric drill, I think, because my drill's a Milwaukee Magnum drill and it's just all torque. I need a small, light, fast drill, so I'm not running my air compressor like crazy with this little tool here. But I started out, I just ran along here. This is equal to maybe a gray scuff pad. Cleaned up all these areas nice, just practicing, and then I went back and I started polishing in this area. Got a long ways to go. This is going to take some time, but great time to do it when the tire's off. I just picked up some cleaners. I'm going to get in there before I do any final polishing. And I had an old compound. I don't even think they make this stuff anymore. I was trying that. I picked up one of these. That worked okay. I even tried some of this wax compound stuff they had at Sears. Not really happy with that stuff. Let's see what else. Yeah, so first order of business, get this organized so I can work. I picked up a little bit of this to touch up the frame because I'm not painting the frame this year, but there is some little rust spots that I want to touch up, and that'll be fine for that. I'm going to try some of this when I get into the finer polishing. I remember I used this product when I had some raw aluminum wheels on one of my trucks a long time ago, and it worked. Did a real heavy, deep clean, so I'm going to try that. I think this is what Jess Hagen was talking about. Said if when I get the front wheel pulled off, this old clear coat brake cleaner will take that right off. So I'll squirt that on there and give it a try once I get this all apart. I got a little polishing to go on the back wheel first, and let's see, yeah, and then there'll be a lot of sanding and polishing on this for sure. This was probably the thing I didn't like the most. It's just how ugly that is. So, but we're gonna try and polish that out, and then oh yeah, and got a new sticker for the wall. Thank you, Mr. Darren. You and Andrea are just a force out there for the YouTube garage. You've been turned into quite the resource, and just pretty awesome what you guys do for everybody. I just saw the order that you sent Steve from Meta there, and all right. So I gotta get. I just lost my train of thought. So before I do much more polishing on this, I want to get it more stable than it is. So I took just a quick measurement with this thing, this cheap little tool that I got. Actually, this came from a Harbor Freight, not one around here though. And then I just made a little piece of cardboard out, took a Sharpie in there and just zipped it around, and then I'm going to end up making the little notches out there so that wheel will lock right in there, and I'll make a little stand for it. Because I think I'm going to use the big buffing wheel that's over there and really push on that thing. So I'm going to need that thing stable so it doesn't go flying across the garage. made some marks at each little spoke, and I'll take that roto zip tool and I'll just mark those out. That way this can lock in, and I'll build some kind of a stand after, because I think I really want to dig into this with that. So, and I need it stable. Okay, working with what I have available without having to drive to the store 20 times, this is what I came up with. Just, I don't even know what this piece of cardboard, thick cardboardy stuff, I don't know, back of an old speaker or something, I don't even remember. The wheel fits right in there, tucks into those grooves, and then I think I'll just take a strap, wrap it around the inside, and hopefully that's a simple, quick solution to that problem. With this old stool that's been around forever, strap it to that. It's at a good work height, it's not too high. I've got an old vise over here. It actually would fit on this, but the work level would be a bit high. With this old pedestal, this came from up near where my cousin lives. That's an old mill town in Haverhill. There's a lot of old shoe factories from way back when. There's not a date on this, but this would have been an old machine where there'd be a wheel coming through here with belts and everything, from way, way back. Somebody had put a big piece of plate steel on top and somehow welded it. I didn't think you could weld that to cast, but it did. It made a nice little vise stand though. Well, I still got to clean this wheel, take it outside and spray it down with that stuff, but I do want to see if this setup here, I'm going to try that old compound first, and then maybe I'll try some of that new stuff I picked up. I also have some of this that's older, but I'll give that a shot too. I think it's more for a final polish though. Yeah, I want to give this a shot. This is a low use, but the only problem with this buffer, it's only got one speed, and that's ridiculously high speed, but you can gauge it. You can kind of just gauge it with the trigger. That's probably the way I'll be using this thing. And then of course I might go back, now that I have this wheel stable, this tool might be a little easier to work on here too. I was even thinking about taking a Dremel tool and just slowly cleaning out in here, but that would take that's ridiculous. I think painting in there is just the way to go with this style wheel, because it'll be so much easier to clean. Just a little rinse, you know, now and then, instead of trying to get in there with the metal cleaners and everything. So let's see if that tool I used left kind of circular marks here, but not major ones. So I want to see if this takes that out, or if I got to go back and kind of sand by hand and get it all smooth. So I'd gone to a 3M thing at the local trade school a few months ago. They gave out little grab bags, so I got one of these. I was set up a little different, I guess. That's different. I guess you got to tie that down. Should probably turn the music down a little bit. Very professional now. Of course, when you put one of these on, you find yourself going, "Oh, look, it's me, I'm Buffy." Buffy the Aluminum Slayer. Alright. This stuff tends to just go everywhere. I want to try this old stuff first. Why not? It's just sitting around. Just trying to lay it out. I haven't done a lot of aluminum polishing. It's better than it ever looked on the road, but a little ways to go there. I don't know if this is the tool for the job. It's a little extreme. Definitely requires some control. I'll see what this older stuff does. Little heater's got it up to about 50 in here today. Not bad. Plus it's not that cold out today either. Seems to be working. Let's see, I'll try that other tool too. I'll try the new polish, see what that does. This thing's a little unwieldy, but it's working. I think if you go back over by hand, if I have a polishing cloth around still, maybe a microfiber cloth. I don't know if I have any of those left. I had some over here. Might be in here. There they are. That might be the extent of what I have to do. I don't know if this shows that or not. It's not bad. Better than it ever looked before since I've had it. There's still some little where the corrosion got in just a little bit, but man, for this I could actually live with that. To get that out, I'd have to do some heavy sanding. Is that the machining marks are still in, so anything I did didn't even take those out. I think that's gonna work. Without that 8-inch buffing wheel is a little much for here, but I'll still try with the drill on this, or maybe even the air tool, and see how it works. Oh yeah, and just hogging, I think I might be interested in one of those Avon tires you were telling me about. These are the numbers on this. I don't know my motorcycle tire numbers at all. I don't know if it says anything else on here you need. Oh, let's see. Let's go back around this way. Yeah, I found a guy that has a mounting and balancing machine at his house, and he'll do it no problem. The place I would have gone definitely wouldn't have mounted somebody else's tire. They're like that, you know. Alright, I sprayed this down. Some of this stuff. It smells better than I remember it used to. It used to I just have a real acid smell to it. Now it smells like cherries or something. So I'm going to clean this up, rinse it off, let it dry. And if I remember, it stains polished aluminum. You got to repolish after using this, but it cleans into the places you can't get to. And then I'll have a better clean surface to paint when I'm ready to do that. No wonder why I couldn't get these things clean when they're on the bike. I just did them off. I even went in with a toothbrush after laying that cleaner on, letting it sit, and they're still dirty. There's a pretty heavy corrosion area right in here. I've actually, instead of using that rotary tool, I'm trying to make scratches that match the ones that were on there, and trying to get some of this stuff off with 400. I'm not going to get it all out. Some of it goes a little deep. But I'm going to get a lot of that out. There'll be a little left. I don't want to cut into it too deep. You can kind of see how it's not getting all of that out. I'll work on that a little more. This is 400 grit. I don't really want to go any coarser than this, because I'm going to have to knock this down a couple of grits before I get back into compounding. Wow, that's really deep there. There'll be a couple of spots. Based on what I was getting on the other side, it's going to be so much better than it was. Even if there's a few pits in it still, I can live with that. But I've got a ton of black beauty in there and a big old sandblaster up there, but that would destroy this wheel. If I did any kind of blasting, I'd have to mask out the areas I'd want to leave polished and do like a baking soda blast or something like that. What I may do is get a little wire wheel rotary tool, like a fine one, and see how that cleans up in there. Otherwise, I'm just going to rely on the acid etch primer to, after I clean it as much as I can, to dig in a little coat of sealer inside these areas, and then I'll do, I'm going to do like a graphite metallic base coat, and then a couple shots of clear coat. And this part out here will be masked off. I may put the tire on first so it's all balanced if these weights have to be moved. I may do that, do it that way, and do the paint last. Yeah, this little tool works good on these web areas. It shines right up. Be careful not to nick any of the polished areas. These things are good for removing like gaskets, valve cover gaskets, stuff like that. I have these, and there's some coarser ones that are more like a red Scotch-Brite. Does a nice job, but nice and quick. Some of these areas out here, they're corroded. But it leaves a circular scratch that came out on the other side. This doesn't, being similar to a gray Scotch-Brite, about a 400 scratch. It's not doing too much damage. Those things are loud. So that's with that rotary tool. really gets in here. I mean, those probably fine the way they are. I don't know how much more polishing I'll be able to do with those. I'm gonna go back and hand sand down to 600 at least with get these swirl marks out. There's still some little corrosion areas in there. Those aren't all gonna come out. There's no way. I went back around this side and I found a little wire tool. A little on the aggressive side, but I'm gonna keep a lookout at the local stores for something a little finer than that. That's what's gonna clean out in there. That's about the only thing that's gonna work that I can see. I can't believe that cleaner didn't dig in. It took a lot off, but there's a long way to go. But I'm just gonna get a couple little wire tools like that, because the way I'm gonna paint it, none of those scratches will show. It's coarse anyways. That won't be an issue. So yeah, I can go get back to a little sanding and some polishing here. So what I did to get those swirl marks out from that little tool, I just went around with 400 grit, which I think is a similar scratch to what that tool puts in, but I just took out those swirl marks. Went over it with 600. And now Jess Hagen suggested 2000 grit. I don't have any here right now, so I'm just using what I have. But I've been experimenting with the polishing, and I can still see some of them little scratches, so I may have to take it down to a 2000 grit or something like that. But I'm going to play around with the polishing some more. I've been using this tool now. Gotta be very careful. One little slip and bonk, I already nicked it right here. I went back with some 400 and took the worst of it off. So gotta be very careful with this tool. There's a metal thing in the front, and in the back will really destroy it. So you just gotta kind of hold it to your body to gauge it. And just keep it. And I think I'm gonna try the. This stuff seems to cut better than anything else that I have right now. So I'm gonna go back to the big wheel and do some of that. And but I tell you, it's already better than it's ever looked before, so pretty happy. But it's going to be I got it set up so it's fairly comfortable to take my time, because it's going to be a time-consuming thing. And when it's all done and ready to roll, I'm going to have a whole nother wheel to get into. Alright, I think I'll wrap that up here. Make a video out of this one. Once again, thanks VW Darren. I love the sticker. I'm going to get you something soon. I just haven't... I'm a little behind on making the signs. I chose kind of a time-consuming method doing those. But I'm going to make some more. And let's see. Alright, that's it for now. I got a lot of polishing to do. I brought this down a little lower on a milk crate just before I was starting to wrap this up for a bit. I wanted to try this, and just taking my time with the compound in little areas with the big 8-inch wheel, and I'm using the old compound here, and it's doing it this way. It's taking out all the sand scratches pretty nice. I have a nice controlled way to hold this. It seems to be working pretty good. Just doing a little area at a time. I think if I do that a few times, all the way around, I have a pretty shiny wheel, and then I can still go over it. I think this will be a finer polish, so I'll try that. I'll do this one last area. That's a nice gloss. As soon what happens when you use this stuff last. There's going to be minute little pits in there just because of the way this corroded. I don't know if that shows there. What I want is the scratches that I put in with the sandpaper to not really be visible. I still might have to try and grab a little 2000 or even 1500, take it down a little more. You'd probably end up getting a mirror finish that way. But this area right here where I've been concentrating on, it's polishing up pretty nice. But there's going to be a little time involved here. That's okay. Got a month or two before I'm going to really want this thing back on the road. Well, there it is so far. I'm just going to keep chasing some of the little scratches I put in. But I'm actually favoring this thing again. I'm just taking my time with that. But it's so much better than it was. Actually looks like something now. I got a little more work to do on this side. A little ways to go over here. Hey kitty. Milo gives me kitty points if I put you on. Yep. Kitty points. Got anything to say about that? How about you? More kitty points. Double or nothing.